With Thanksgiving happening in just a few hours, it usually kicks off a traditionally busy holiday season for many families.
Yeah, it's also a time when police see a definite uptick in domestic violence incidents. In a 2 News investigation tonight, Jamie McGriff takes a closer look at the warning signs of domestic violence and shares how you can address it with loved ones who may be victims.
Make sure we have 1 or 2 detectives that are on call and ready.
This time of year can be a nightmare for domestic violence victims.
Right after Thanksgiving, it gets really bad.
Salt Lake City Police Sergeant Elizabeth Johnson works in the Domestic Violence Detective Division.
I do think that the cases spike up more just right after the holiday. I think some people try to just kind of keep it together, especially if they have children. Everyone tries to get along more, but then right after it all comes out, so like the first week of January, it gets really bad.
However, some family members and friends may know or suspect abuse is happening.
So that's kind of where it started for me.
That was the case for Joni Michael, a domestic abuse survivor.
Like with my biological mom, she's a little rough around the edges, love her dearly, but she's just like, why are you being dumb? You're being a dumb bitch, you know better. But with my parents, it was like, like, we love you. We see how great you are. Like, you deserve more, right? We just wish you loved yourself.
And I found out after the fact that
Lindsay Hackford, another survivor, shared her perspective when returning to her then husband.
my parents knew he had gotten physical and he was abusive, and so clearly they were concerned, but they had no way to get a hold of me. And if they did, I shut it down very aggressively.
Hackford says she had to face the reality of her situation and decide to leave.
But it was hard for me to accept that. And there was nothing that anyone was going to say to me to change my mind or make me leave any sooner.
Or sometimes people don't realize that it is domestic abuse. They think because there wasn't physical abuse or somebody hasn't been hit yet that it's not domestic violence, and not realizing the layers of maybe isolation and financial abuse and emotional abuse that have happened before that.
Ashley Taylor, executive director with the Refuge Utah, says people should look for the warning signs.
It's always those changes where suddenly maybe they're not able to come out anymore and come out for a girls' night, and suddenly they're not allowed to do that, or they're using words like, well, I'm not allowed to spend money on this, or I'm not allowed to call these certain people.
Taylor says it's important to approach the topic with victims very carefully.
Because they're in that relationship, they're in a relationship with someone that they love. And from the outside, it may be something that you just want to say, they're not treating you okay. That's not a way you should be treated. But from inside the relationship, you love that person, right? And so hearing that may be very defensive, and sometimes they've been manipulated to say, no one else understands us, only I understand you. Right? So rely on me, don't rely on other sources.
Just listening to them.
Sergeant Johnson says keeping the communication lines open with victims is important, and making them feel comfortable opening up about it.
But also just telling family members and neighbors to make the victim feel comfortable in talking about it and not judging them for it, because I think it's only natural as human beings to be so frustrated. Why don't you just leave? We all know that he's awful or she's awful. Why don't you just leave? And then families starting to get frustrated because their family member or their loved one isn't listening to their advice.
I have been in the last couple of years.
Hackford says having supportive family and friends makes all the difference.
Be there for them, be that support person, and just be there when they ask for help, because you don't know when that time is going to be, and maybe it's the time they leave, maybe it's not, but the time that you shut that person out, they probably won't come back to you.
That's Jamie McGriff reporting. As always, if you or somebody you know is experiencing domestic violence, there is help out there for you. You can call the Utah hotline at the number on your screen. If the danger is immediate, you can always call 911.